I'm ready. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. If you please rise so that we can have a short prayer and a salute to our flag. Almighty God, grant us the wisdom to make those decisions that are in the best interest of all of our residents. May the Heavenly Father of us all bless those who have given the ultimate sacrifice in service to our nation, and may He watch over and protect our servicemen and women now guarding the gates of freedom. Salute to our flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Statement of publication, please, Jessica.
Take notice that this regular meeting of the Mayor and Council being held on this 27th day of January 2020 has been advertised and posted in accordance with Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975.
Roll call, please.
Councilpersons Delina.
Here.
Enriquez.
Here.
Marr.
Here.
Miguel. Novak.
Here.
Roberts.
Here. At this point, I call for approval of prior minutes. of the
Make a motion to approve the minutes as on the agenda meeting January 13th.
Roll call, please.
Councilpersons Novak.
Yes.
Delina.
Yes.
Enriquez.
Yes.
Marr.
Yes.
Miguel. Roberts.
Yes.
At this time, we have a proclamation to be read in full. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you would please, today we have a proclamation in honor of our women's suffrage movement. The proclamation states, whereas the year 2020 marks the 100th anniversary of the ratification of the 19th Amendment to the United States Constitution, guaranteeing and protecting women's rights to vote. And whereas this centennial offers an opportunity to commemorate a milestone of democracy, that the right of citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the federal or state governments on account of gender. And whereas New Jersey has had a long, storied history in the suffrage movement, with New Jersey women playing a crucial role in pursuing the rights of women to vote. And whereas on June 4th, 1919, Congress passed the 19th Amendment, guaranteeing all American women the right to vote. And whereas on February 9th, 1920, New Jersey became the 29th state to ratify the 19th Amendment, guaranteeing all American women the right to vote. And whereas shortly after the ratification of the 19th Amendment, Margaret Laird and Janine Von Ness were the first two women elected to the New Jersey Assembly in 1921. And in 1925, Rebecca Estelle Burgess Winston of Estelle Manor of New Jersey's first woman mayor. And now, therefore, I, Victoria Kilpatrick, Mayor of the Borough of Saraville, in honor of the 100th anniversary of the ratification of the 19th Amendment, do hereby recognize the Women's Vote Centennial here in the Borough of Saraville, and hereby urge the citizens of this community to recognize the merits of this cause and to wear purple the week of February 9th, 2020.
I move the mayor's proclamation be approved on roll call vote.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilpersons Novak.
Yes.
Delina.
Yes.
Enriquez.
Yes.
Marr.
Yes.
Miguel. Roberts.
Yes.
Thank you very much. And again, not that we need to make mention of this one more time, but I'm very proud to read that proclamation. And I thank Council President Mary Novak for bringing that to our attention as we sit here today with, again, 4 women on the dais for the first time in over 50 years in Saraville's history. So thank you all for that. At this point,
We're elected 2 others.
yes,
6 women.
6,
We're elected.
yes,
And 2 others.
absolutely.
6 women on the dais.
It's the year of the woman moving forward. That is right. Thank you, ladies. I thought I miscounted for a second, Mr. Frankel. Moving forward also, in addition, I would just like to take a moment because I would like to continue with the proud history of Saraville. As many of you know, and if you have not, this year we will be celebrating our 100th year anniversary of our borough's reorganization. Back 100 years ago, we had our township reorganization officially acknowledge the borough of Saraville at that time with 7,200 residents. It would only be fitting that we take the opportunity on this centennial to find a way to celebrate this within our town. So one of the things that I wanted to do, and I'm going to reach out and ask one of our council people to actually help as a liaison to this project, I think that Saraville needs to celebrate this amazing, momentous moment. So in doing so, I would ask that Councilwoman Mar, because I know she has amazing organizational skills as a mom and as a teacher, if she would mind heading up as a liaison here from the council, the beginning of our celebrating of our 100th year reorganization of our borough. With that, though, comes the responsibility of creating a committee. I'll leave it to your discretion, but I'm thinking approximately maybe 7 or 8 people, residents, different individuals within our town. But I will ask that in those numbers that you include our historical society. Sitting in the audience, we have, I know, Art Rittenhouse, and the Historical Society has reached out to the borough because they too know the importance of this state, probably much more than what most residents do. And they would like to actually be a part of planning, at the very least, from what I have read, and I'm gonna let Mr. Rittenhouse come up and speak, a parade in honor of that 100th year reorganization. But I would ask that you include Mr. Rittenhouse or whomever he deems from the Historical Society to be a part of this planning.
I would love to, especially since my great-grandparents were part of those 7,000 residents at that time.
Really? So obviously, I think we've chosen the perfect individual. With that, Mr. Rittenhouse, if you would like to take a moment and come up, I know that you had. That would be great. If they want to briefly just come up, but I'm definitely going to ask that. Obviously, Councilwoman Mar is going to reach out to both of you, so that way you can be a part of the celebration and part of the planning of that. So, and thank you for the work that you've already done and part of the planning you've already put in place.
I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Jane Cope. I reside at 32 Canal Street. I'm a trustee at the Historical Society.
Frank Tuzino, 32 Canal Street. We got to show them. Christmas Day, we did. Oh,
Congratulations.
Sarah, Jane, Sarah.
Okay. First of all, I'd like to introduce myself. I did introduce myself, but I'd like to invite the mayor and council members. If you have not had a recent tour of the museum, to please come. We're doing a lot of exciting new exhibits. We have a lot of big plans. We have a great program scheduled for this year, so you're more than welcome to come to any of our open meetings the second Thursday of the month. We're getting very active with the school district and several schools in the town, so we have a lot going on. And we're very honored to be working with you. We have had some ideas. We have other members of the Historical Society here in the audience tonight who've been working with us on the committee. They're sitting in the back and on this side. So we have some ideas for a parade that we would like to share with you, some preliminary ideas. We have a committee meeting scheduled for February 8th at 10 a.m. in the museum. If you want to give them some of the ideas.
Do we want to go that far? I mean,
Just some of the preliminary ideas.
okay. Yeah, like I said, we had our residents and our B-board. We have some of our membership also came. So it was like a 50-50 mix, and it come up with the parade thing. And some ideas were to have, and I told you not to be nervous, right? Families at Sarah Fisher, if we can find anybody. Former mayor and councils and Board of Ed, American Legion, VFW, Board of Purple Heart, military, all the military groups, all the OEM, the PD, EMS, fire department, things like that.
We're wanting to emphasize the organizations in town who are celebrating a centennial as well, or have celebrated a centennial recently. We really wanted the parade to be a celebration of Cerevel, its history, and its people. So we're looking forward to working with you, and this will be a great event.
I look forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the work you've already started. I think this is going to be a beautiful day for us.
Yes,
Okay.
and like Jane said, we're really moving up on the our museum. It's really looking really good.
Was there a date that you were thinking of, or?
I'm going to allow Councilwoman Marr to actually begin that. I think that is something that we're going to definitely want to pick something that we can get the most community involvement for. So I don't want to put the cart before the horse. I think that it would be best once we were able to form the groups. Our rec advisory board, although it's not a very filled board also, but I think that there's some members there that might very, very, very much want to be a part of this as well. So I have absolute faith, like I said, in Councilwoman Marr and the work that you guys have already put forth. So, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll
We're
do check-ins.
enjoying it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And I believe my son visited last year at the UES for a field trip, right?
Fourth grade?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's one of the few field trips, unfortunately, that the kids go on. So thank you
We're
for
going to see a lot more this
something.
year, a lot more stuff.
Yeah.
And while I have people's attention, if, like I say, we're doing the military showcase, if we request or asking people to donate or put on loan any military from Vietnam right up to Desert Storm, any letters, uniforms, a button, whatever they want to donate or loan to the museum would be appreciated.
That would be great. Maybe we can work also with the Board of Ed to get that out there because so many of our family members, I'm sure, have that. So we'll help you to try and get that out to as many people as possible.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you so much. Before we move on to one more thing, and I noticed that we have, our fire chief is here with some additional individuals. Are you still here, Fire Chief McGaw? I love when I'm able to bring up these gentlemen because they're really quite impressive. I'm gonna ask our fire chief to come up because unfortunately, within the past week or so, we've had some tragedies, not only around here, but also in our surrounding neighborhoods. For those that do not know or did not see in the news, both East Brunswick and Carteret, neighboring towns that we work with, unfortunately had lost two young people. I hate to have to bring our fire chief up, but I do want to bring him up for a moment because what people may not know is that our fire chief and our ice and rescue team was called out to the Carteret scene, and our men have done an amazing job, and I wanted to give you an opportunity to speak on that because I don't think people of Saraville understand that we are the largest, most well-equipped, and the most well-trained ice and rescue group. So, Fire Chief, I'll let you speak on that.
Sure. Okay, well, gotta start off with a little history lesson. This all started from Superstorm Sandy, when we had Weber Avenue underwater, we had numerous areas of town underwater, and we found out we were extremely under-equipped. The squads had boats, but limited manpower. We had a lot of manpower, but no boats. So firemen who had boats, they went and got their own boats, and we made over 100 rescues that day, from anywhere from getting a person out of their flooded car to on Weber Avenue pulling people out of their second floor windows because the water was so deep. So from that point, the fire chiefs and the fire department and the borough realized there was a need to increase our capabilities during floods. So over the years, we acquired equipment, boats, suits, ice water rescue suits, swift water rescue suits, and over the years we have trained a number of individuals who spend their own time, and some of the training is quite intensive, going through the training and getting certified in doing water rescue, ice rescue, swift water rescue. And a lot of people ask us why do we need swift water rescue, is if you ever go down to the river a couple days after a major rainstorm, you can see how fast that water is moving. That qualifies as swift water. So we also have a couple of boats that we use on a regular basis. Prior to this incident, we did a number of rescues from a man trapped in a marsh along the riverbank, numerous stranded boaters and stranded jet skiers, assisting state police, and one unique operation that we had to send some of our water rescue guys over to the Monte Cabo fire, the big fire in Woodbridge a couple weeks ago, to help get some equipment into the water so they can start pumping more water to the fire. But a few days ago, on the 22nd, it was a bad day for the county. Edison had 2 fire deaths at a fire. Right before we got called to Carteret, East Brunswick had a drowning right behind their police station and library. But we got called, our ice water team got called to Carteret for a 14-year-old through the ice. We got called at 7:15. We had guys hit the road, head out to Carteret. At 7:32 we arrived, and at 7:39 we had guys in the water in ice rescue suits, and we were able to pull them out at 7:47. And they brought the child out. They took him to the hospital. He survived the night, but did not make it through the morning. So we have received numerous phone calls from the county. That's from Fire Marshal Gallagher, thanking us. Chief Mullen from the Perth Amboy Fire Department, who reached out to us, and we have a meeting with him tomorrow. We're going to work together because they have a dive team, but they don't have a water rescue or a ice team. So we're going to work jointly. We're going to work things out, see what we can do. We got numerous phone calls from Carteret Fire Department, Carteret Police Department, and guys in Woodbridge, and they were very impressed that our fire department was able to get all the way out to Carteret, get in there as quickly as they did, and do what we can do. It's not very easy, but we got it done. Very proud of the guys. It's a lot of training, and it went textbook as far as getting guys in the water. Of course, me being me who I am, as I'm seeing what's going on, I'm making notes on how we can make things faster, because seconds count when someone's in the water. So we made a number of changes that night to actually decrease the amount of time it takes us to get out the door to get to these rescues. So, and also it's all constantly evolving, and we constantly try to make it better. We get more guys involved. We're gonna do another round of training this year. So, and a long road coming, but it took a lot of time, but unfortunately this young man didn't make it, but we have the capability to take care of our own in town and our surrounding neighbors who may need our help and who may not have the manpower to provide a team like this. But yeah, we are the largest team in Middlesex County, most equipped team in Middlesex County. So I give, I'm very proud of these guys. It's a lot of hard work, and they did themselves proud, and they did the borough of Sayreville proud.
You always do. Great job, guys.
Chief, if I may, could you just please give for the audience and for the people at home a warning on why these young teenagers did what happened, where it could happen in our town also? And if you could just put a warning out, that we'd appreciate it.
And one thing I did forget to mention, we did reach out to the Board of Ed, who put out a memo and an email reminding teachers, reminding kids, reminding parents to stay off the ice, because when we were all younger, when you guys were all younger, the winters were much colder. The pond froze and it stayed frozen all winter long. Now it doesn't, because climate change and everything else. The pond looks frozen because it's been cold only a couple days. The ice is not dead. And kids walk on it, and before you know it, they're in the water. So, like when we were kids, ice was ice. It was thick, it was solid. Winters were cold, and winters had a lot of snow. You see, this year we haven't had one snowstorm, thank God. So, but yeah, ice isn't as thick as it used to be due to climate change. So if you see ice, just do not walk on it. Remind your kids, don't walk on it, because we talk about all the time in the firehouse that right across from high school, we have 2 ponds. And, it's awful close. So, that's why we always put out the reminders. We have our department Facebook that, Chief Hubert runs. He put out a message that next day, trying to get as much information out as we can. So,
Thank you so much, Chief. One of the things I'm going to ask that you do, if you wouldn't mind, can you please forward electronically over whatever your Facebook post was? We can, I think, here between the members on this board, but also any of the outreach we have, to just remind exactly people the same thing you did. We need to stay off the ice. Our ponds are very close to our schools, and those kids are there after school all of the time, and we need to make sure that while East Brunswick and Carteret go through the healing process of their tragedies, we don't want to have those tragedies here. Thank you once again, Chief. Thank you to all the guys for all that you do and for keeping us safe. With that, we're going to move into executive session, I believe. Do we need executive session today?
We're gonna do it at the agenda session. That's our first.
No need. Then we can move on to old business. We have public hearing on the following ordinances. Ordinance number 480-20. Jessica?
An ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 7 of the revised general ordinances of the Borough of Saraville to amend Section 7-3.3, parking prohibited at all times on certain streets.
So I'd like to open to the public then at this point for any comments on ordinance number 480-20. Seeing none. Public Safety Committee, Councilman McGill. There was a second. Roll call, please.
Councilpersons McGill. Yes. Delina.
Yes.
Enriquez.
Yes.
Mar.
Yes.
Novak.
Yes.
Roberts.
Yes.
Public hearing on ordinance number 482-20, an ordinance amending Chapter 17, Parks and Recreational Areas of the revised general ordinances of the Borough of Saraville.
Open to the public for any comments on ordinance number 482-20. Seeing none, can I have a motion, please? Recreation Committee, Councilman Enriquez.
Move the public hearing be closed, the ordinance adopted on second and final reading and advertised according to law.
Roll call, please.
Councilpersons Enriquez.
Yes.
Delina.
Yes.
Mar.
Yes.
McGill.
Yes.
Novak.
Yes.
Roberts.
Yes.
Public hearing on ordinance number 483-20, an ordinance amending Chapter 2, Administration, Section 2.15, Department of Recreation of the revised general ordinances of the Borough of Saraville.
Are there, I'll open to the public for any comments on ordinance 483-20. Seeing none, Recreation Committee again, Councilman Enriquez.
I move the public hearing be closed, the ordinance adopted on second and final reading and advertised according to law.
Roll call.
Councilpersons Enriquez.
Yes.
Delina.
Yes.
Mar.
Yes.
McGill.
Yes.
Novak.
Yes.
Roberts.
Yes.
Okay, moving forward next to, before I do appointments, I do just have one more statement that I wanted to put out there under our proclamations and presentations that I almost forgot. We are very excited here in Saraville that after a year of waiting again, after application, we have now been in receipt from the 19th District legislators, the releasing of state funding so that we can do improvements to Bailey's Park here in Saraville. It's my understanding that this has received quite a bit of attention on social media, as most things do. But what I have before you and also located in the back of the room are copies of a press release from our legislative Democrats for the 19th District that I'd like to just take a moment and read for the public, so that way any rumors, thoughts, or any conversations going on can actually be dispelled and you can know exactly what's happening straight from the council and the mayor and legislators' mouths. So I'm very excited to say that this is our press release, again, from our New Jersey legislators. A Saraville Park that has fallen into disrepair over the years has received funding from the state to help rehabilitate the land. Funds for Bailey Park were released last week when the governor unfroze the remaining money allocated by the legislator in this year's state budget. With the $500,000 dedicated to Bailey Park improvements, the Borough of Saraville is considering constructing a spray park that would allow local children and visitors to enjoy a water playground in the hot summer months. If the spray park is decided upon, it would be the first within our municipality. Saraville, and this is a quote, Saraville families have asked for park improvements in the past that they've currently had to visit neighboring towns to enjoy our spray park, said Senator Joseph Vitale of Middlesex. By upgrading Bailey Park, young children and students from nearby schools will be excited to once again visit the park and play in the area. I am pleased that the funding we allocated to Saraville is now available to help them improve Bailey Park, said Speaker Craig Coughlin. A park provides a place for residents to spend time in nature, gather with friends and family, and enjoy a variety of free outdoor activities. Now Bailey Park can once again be that place for the people of this borough. It's always a shame when any park or any recreational area remains underused, and we know living here that that is what's happened to Bailey Park, said Councilwoman Yvonne Lopez. Children deserve the opportunity to play outside and experience nature more often, which is why it's important for Saraville to be able to utilize Bailey Park and revitalize Bailey Park. My comments continue, that I would like to take this time to thank our legislators, especially Senator Vitale, Assemblymember Craig Coughlin, for taking our town's needs into consideration in the state budget. The improvements that we make to Bailey's Park will now give us the access that we've always wanted there. This funding will make a big difference to our residents' lives. I wanted to read that in its entirety because there's a lot of discussion about what we're actually going to do there. And the spray park is one possibility. But Bailey's Park needs a lot more than just that. Bailey's Park is an underused area and over the years has fallen into disrepair. Right now, to travel to Bailey's Park, you have to make your way through a rutted road, and those individuals that often visit there, especially at nighttime because it is so underused, are not there for the recreational purposes we want. It allows vandalism and allows other things to take place there. I truly believe that when you revitalize an area and you bring people into that space, then the individuals that are doing the things that we don't want will go away. And that park deserves that opportunity. When I think about the Historical Society, I'm certain that they can come up here and tell you all the historical preservation that needs to go on there as well. Anytime we have an opportunity to take money in from our legislators, there's a lot of talk about, well, this is taxpayer money, we should be allocating it to something else. We've reached out to the governor's office because we know there's a lot of other parks, including Kennedy Park, that need to be revitalized. We asked if the money could be changed and actually put towards Kennedy Park, but unfortunately that's not an option here. So although I know that some people, some residents think that we should be reallocating it to our roads, unfortunately that's not how funding goes. When something's appropriated through state budgets, it has to go for what it was line itemed for. I'm proud to be able to stand before you and say that Saraville is finally getting recognized to do the improvements that we need. We're finally on the map again. So we, of course, have a team. We'll be working with our Public Works Director. We'll be working with, obviously, CME. We'll be working with the council and be looking for input from residents. But I'm excited to say this is the beginning of moving Bailey Park forward. But we're also going to move forward on trying to address issues in Kennedy Park. We have reached out to Freeholder Director Ronald Rios so that he will be doing a walkthrough at Kennedy Park, and hopefully within the next couple of weeks, we'll be able to put together a little bit more of a strategic plan, have a better idea financially how much Kennedy Park would cost us to start making much needed improvements to make that a shining star and a center jewel for our town. So I wanted to give everyone an update. Hopefully you'll take that back to our social media pages in the town so that a little bit more truth can come out and a little bit less of the rumor mill continues to churn. With that, now I need to make a few appointments to our boards. First board that I'd like to discuss is our Veteran Alliance, which is technically not an actually recognized board. A couple of meetings ago, you'll remember that I made 3 appointments. With that, I now have additional members that would like to be a part of this very important board. I would like to appoint at this point Stanley Drawl, Ken Kelly, and Harry Pechakowski to the Veterans Alliance Board in representation of the VFW. In addition, for the American Legion, I would like to appoint Rich Kosmuski, who's currently serving, and I'd like to continue to keep in place Mr. Castellano and Mr. Marr, who I've already appointed. Just to remind everybody, we actually will have a council liaison to that board now. We've asked that Damon Enriquez take that position as he is also a military veteran, and we thank you for your service. As I mentioned, we do not have an ordinance that actually governs this particular board. So what I'm going to also request, and I've already reached out to two of the members that have been appointed, I'd like to sit down and actually meet with both the VFW as well as the American Legion so that collectively we can create an ordinance that officially recognizes this as a committee and a board within our town. Once they come forward with what they would like to see as far as a structure, we'll be able to present that to the borough. Council, everybody's okay with that? Thank you. Okay, moving on, I'd also like to appoint onto our Office on Aging, Dawn Carbone in place of Michelle Golba Norick, who did not put her paperwork in. And also I need to make an appointment to our Girl Scout, which is Kathy, I'm going to pronounce this wrong, Federo. And in addition to that, I'd like to make an appointment to our Board of Education, and that would be Sherry Kuo. Let's see, do I need advice from that? Do I need a motion on any of those?
I move the mayor's nominations be approved on roll call vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yes, I was going to that next. Now, I have something really novel here. As we mentioned before, our Recreation Advisory Board is starting to dwindle a little bit. And while we work to get more members there, I actually had a lovely young man that we actually honored a couple of weeks ago at our last council meeting that came forward and asked if there can be youth members appointed to our Recreation Board. And I thought to myself, how has it been that we have gone this long without ever having youth members, the kids, representing what they would like to see happen within our recreation programs. So I'm going to ask the council if you would allow me to create 2 youth member positions on the Recreation Advisory Board. So that way, their ideas, their thoughts can actually be a part of this town, and hopefully we can help grow our recreation department in the light of what these young people would like to see. What do we think? That would be you, Damon?
I think it's a great idea. I actually spoke with one of the, Travis Gaston, yesterday on the matter, and he's more than excited to be part of it.
We have perfect, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So this is a momentous occasion here that we are bringing youth into our committees. This is what I like to see, and I really would like to say thank you to Travis because it was his idea that made me aware that we did not have that. So these are both going to be, Travis right now is a middle school student. He's 8th grade, getting ready to go into high school. But we also have somebody from the high school that would like to be appointed as well. I will talk to them, and we'll get those names and have them fill out a formal application. So I think we're moving in the right direction. This is great. Moving on now to new business, we have the introduction of the following ordinances. Jessica?
Introduction of ordinance number 484-20, an ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 5 of the revised general ordinances of the Borough of Saraville to add Section 5-8 curfew.
Okay, that goes under the Public Safety Committee. Councilman McGill, please.
Thank you, Mayor. I move the ordinance be approved on first reading, advertised according to law, and a public hearing be held on February 10th, I believe that is, 2020.
Second? Roll call, please.
Councilpersons McGill,
Yes.
Delina? Enriquez?
Yes.
Mar?
Yes.
Novak?
Yes.
Roberts?
Yes.
Introduction of ordinance number 485-20, an ordinance amending the waterfront redevelopment plan of the Borough of Saraville, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey.
That would be Councilman Delina, please.
Thank you, Mayor. I move the ordinance be approved on first reading, advertised according to law, and a public hearing to be held on February 10th, 2020.
Second?
Roll call.
Councilpersons Delina?
Yes.
Enriquez?
Yes.
Mar? McGill?
Yes.
Novak?
Yes.
Roberts?
Yes.
I thought we didn't have to on that one. Okay. Ordinance number 486-20, an ordinance supplementing and amending ordinance number 436-19, fixing the salaries of certain borough officials, officers, and employees for the years 2020 to 2022.
Councilwoman Roberts, please.
Move the ordinance be approved on first reading, advertised according to law, and a public hearing be held on February 10th.
Is there a second?
Second?
Roll call.
Councilpersons Roberts?
Yes.
Delina?
Yes.
Enriquez?
Yes.
Mar?
Yes.
McGill?
Yes.
Novak?
I'm going to abstain.
All right, next we have the public portion of the consent agenda resolutions. Is there anybody from the public that would like to speak on consent agenda resolutions only? Seeing none, can I have a motion?
I make a motion that we close the public portion and adopt the council resolutions on roll call vote.
Roll call, please.
Councilpersons Novak,
Yes.
Delina.
Yes.
Enriquez.
Yes.
Mar.
Yes.
McGill.
Yes.
Roberts.
Yes.
Thank you. And CFO?
No report, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Denise. And Borough Engineer? Thank you. Borough Attorney?
No report, Mayor.
Wow. And now we can open to the public. At this time, anybody wishing to speak on any and all matters can come forward. Sure, Steve. Please state your name and address for the record.
Steve Malineski, 28 Scarlet Drive in Portland. I have two issues, Council. One, and I think we've talked about it here before, and that's the entrance that I'm sure a lot of people here who go to shop right off Ernst Road go in and out of that facility. Getting in and out of that is dangerous. Somehow or another, I think we need some kind of light, something that can let traffic safely go east on Ernst Road. Right and going, west is easy. Going across it, there's a lot of kids, a lot of people walking in and out of the park, and it just seems it's a little hairy. So, one suggestion is maybe some kind of light facility, something to allow cars exiting ShopRite to turn left towards Washington Road and further down.
So it's my understanding that we had already sent this over to the Police and Traffic Safety quite a while ago, I believe, correct? I know that we received, I think, a preliminary report, or at least a couple of ideas or guidelines. Can we send that back over to PD if we haven't reviewed it, or ask them for the most comprehensive report? And then Councilman McGill, you're in charge of public safety now. Would you do that follow-up?
Mayor, coincidentally, I have a meeting with the mayor, with Chief tomorrow, and I agree. We don't need just a warning light. We need
something.
We need a stoplight. We need red, yellow, and green there. This
Right.
is-
And I
it's
know we
crazy.
brought it up here once before,
Yeah.
but I haven't heard anything, so just to bring it up. Second item I have on my agenda, and that's been brought up before too, is in and around White Oaks, there are so many potholes, and people try to fill them. It's getting really, really bad, going up and down Glen Court, Highland Drive, all that area in there. I know we talked about it. There was a lack of hot gravel or whatever we were putting in the holes. Whatever we're putting in is coming right out, and the holes are getting bigger and bigger. And fortunately, we haven't had any real snow and ice and all that right now this year so far. So I think we really need to do some kind of better road repair or road management to get those holes and potholes, really, because the cars are getting banged up. I know, Mary, you're on the block.
Yeah,
so-
Council President Novak, I know we've addressed this quite a few times, I think, and I know it's on our director's list of things to take a look at.
Well, what's on there right now is the top part of Glen Court. I don't know,
Yeah.
that is
That's
really awful.
atrocious
We
where
have to put a
Deerfield is.
tremendous amount of salt up there, so that part of the road, the whole hill, from Deptford Court up, that we do have an estimate, and we're looking at trying to see if we can find money to repair that. But I know what you're talking about. The roads have an awful lot of potholes in it, and we have fixed them over and over again. And when we get our budget and see what we have and go over the roads, we'll certainly.
I know, we've talked about it before, it's just that it seems like I see people on the road trying to fill in holes,
Yep.
but it seems futile. It's like,
This is a terrible time of year when we're trying to deal with it, because you have the issues with the weather and you have the issues with that. So I know that during this time, typically it is like a patch job. As we move forward, and our budget hearings will be coming up soon, our budget meetings, we're gonna have to turn around and take a look as a council again at how much money we wanna appropriate. You know how I feel. We've pushed and continued to add and add and add as much as we can to it, and absolutely, I know that they'll be doing their evaluations, they'll ride along on the roads, and then we'll be sitting up here again, putting those into place. So, thanks, Steve, both of those will
Thank
be
you.
addressed. Anybody else?
Mayor, if you don't mind.
Yes.
I just want to reiterate again what Steve said about that entrance into ShopRite. That looks like something out of the 6-Day War.
Yeah.
okay? It's every man and woman for themselves trying to get in just to do their basic food shopping. It makes no sense at all what we have there, so kudos to him.
Thank you. Young lady? State your name and your address, please. Thank you.
Good evening. Christina Davis, 92 Miller Avenue, Sayreville, New Jersey. I spoke to Senator Vitale's office today, who spoke to Dan Frankel this afternoon, and I was informed that the Sayreville Sports Complex will be undergoing a reseeding project. I just was wondering when that project is expected to begin.
I'd have to defer over, I don't have that schedule.
I'll have to talk to our Public Works, but obviously reseeding is not going to start till the frozen thaw, so you're probably looking at, those fields have not been taken care of, from my understanding, from Public Works and from Recreation in the past 10 or 12 years.
There was a year-long contract that was started in 2018.
The lawn contract was not a reseeding contract. If the fields have to be reseeded, they have to be put back into a much better shape. We've had a couple of people injured on those fields, so we're committed to getting those fields back into shape. So they are going to be not used in 2020.
Okay, so for the full year.
We believe it's going to have to be for the full year.
Okay. In that case, was the request or was a notification made to the Green Acres Department of Environmental Protection as required?
Excuse me?
Was that notification that those grass fields are going to be closed made to the Department of Environmental Protection?
I didn't say they're going to be closed. You said they're going to be closed. I said they're not going to be. I don't know the answer to that.
Okay. I'm asking specifically because I was told that permits are being denied due to the reseeding, which would then cause those fields to be closed, which is making
That's
them
not
issue.
why, my understanding is that is not why the permits are being denied. I'm telling you for a reason.
Right.
We are trying to get those fields back into shape, so we only have a certain amount of fields that are being used, okay, or can be used. Those fields we believe are not going to be used in 2020 to give it proper aeration, growing and everything, so we come back stronger in 2021.
Right. But what I'm stating to you is that Dan Frankel had spoken to Senator Vitale's office, who had said specifically that permits are being denied due to the reseeding project.
That's not what Dan Frankel, I said to Senator Vitale's office.
Okay, so if that was, that was the biggest question, because if there was going to be, so the fields will be open then while they're reseeding, or what's the plan with the fields?
So I think, as you know, when you reseed and you want to try to keep people off the fields, you want to make sure they're watered properly, you want to make sure they're aerated properly. So I think when we go and do our contractors and they do those fields, it would be really beneficial if the fields are not played on. So will they be closed, I think, to a competitive soccer league or lacrosse league or something like that? I would say probably. For somebody who may want to throw a Frisbee, let's see how much grass comes up before we see what's going on.
Okay, so at what point would we be notified of whether a closure or a temporary hold on the complex?
When will you be,
Notified, when will the public be notified whether or not the fields are going to be closed?
I think right now you could be assured the fields are not going to be used probably for all of the spring, and I think we have to see how weather conditions occur, how things happen, how we have a drought, how we have water. I can't give you that answer. I don't think anyone knows that answer right now.
Okay, so I've been in contact with the Department of Environmental Protection specifically about this complex and its distribution of permits. So I'm asking specifically because there is in their subchapter 25, that if the complex will be closed, or not the complex, but certain areas of the complex, whether it's even one field, 2 fields, 3 fields, that the NJDEP needs to be notified in advance, because that will limit the amount of permits that are being released for that area. And then furthermore, the permits that are released need to be equally set to any organization that's requesting those permits. So I was just trying to confirm whether or not, if you had an end date, then we can reset
Do not have an end date, and what you're saying is something we have also researched, and I'm not quite sure, and I'll defer to our legal, that we have to, I'm not saying we don't have to notify, permits are granted by the borough for municipally sponsored organizations, and that's how the permits are issued. And I know it's a Green Acres Park, and I understand that, But Green Acres, we are also allowed for permitting purposes. The park is allowed to be used by anybody. Any one of us can use the park. When it comes to permitting, I'll defer to our legal counsel.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll look into it. This is the first that I'm aware of anything of this nature.
This is the rules and regulations for subchapter 25 that does
Okay.
not identify that an organization has to be a municipally sponsored organization, such as in the previous seasons, we've had churches who are not municipally sponsored, and other soccer organizations that are holding competitive. The Walnut Foundation, I believe, used the whole complex in 2018, 2017, who are also not municipally sponsored. So being a municipally sponsored organization is not a requirement under the Green Acres. The highlighted passages there.
Yeah, I've got the highlighted passages from Title A, so what I'll do is I'll look at the Title VII of the New Jersey Administrative Code. You gave me one specific section of Title VII, so when I do have an opportunity to look at the New Jersey Administrative Code, I will have an opportunity to talk to Mr. Frankel regarding the seating and also the plan for future use.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? I saw over here, young lady, and then we'll come over to this side and over here. Say your name and address, please.
Hi, my name is Valerie Canan. I live at
We can't hear you.
73 Zaleski Drive, Sayreville. Valerie Canan. So you just brought Bailey's Park funding out, so I'm sure you have not too much further information about it. But my question is, as a resident who lives on that bordering property, are you going to put together something with the residents? I did hear you say the residents' input, but as far as being a committee to have more input, because I'll be honest with you, having screaming kids in my backyard all summer is not ideal. But I do support renovating it and making it new. I mean, that would be great. But you said that $500,000 is for just Bailey's Park. So if you wanted to do a spray park, let's say in Kennedy Park, you couldn't do it with that money, correct?
Not with those funds, no. We checked in with the governor's office to see if any of that money could be reallocated to another park, and the response was absolutely not, because of the way that they have to file their financials and the way they have to turn around and apply for these types of things. So we wouldn't be able to reappropriate that $500,000 to another project.
Okay.
What we choose to do with the $500,000, and Spray Park has come up multiple times, I don't want to lock us into anything, because this is something we're going to have to really take a look at.
So you said you're forming a committee?
Well, what we have in place right now is our council, and obviously we are going to be using our Public Works Committee, and we're obviously going to be confirmed with. I know, are you saying you want to be on the committee?
I'm just saying I would like input to
Absolutely.
what the committee decides.
I think it's important to get as much input as we can, especially on a project this big. So I'm not going to say we're forming the committee right now, since I'm very excited to hold up this paper and it just got released this week. I will absolutely ask that you give your name, phone number, contact information to our lovely clerk, so that way if we turn around and decide as a council that we're going to put into place some type of committee, then your name will be one of the first ones we pull out of the hat.
Love it, thank you.
I'm very happy when there's residents willing to come forward and help. Excellent. Any other questions? Oh, don't leave yet, you still, oh, no. When you volunteer, we insist before you walk out that we get your name and contact information. So, was there a question here? Please forgive me, I asked for a phone book so I can see a little higher. So, yes. I just need your name and your address for the record, please.
Sure. Aisha Carvan, 61 Scarlet Drive.
Aisha?
Carvan.
You got that, Jess? Okay, and Scarlet Drive?
61 Scarlet.
Lucy Glakowski, Rupert Drive.
Parag Shah, 12 Front Court.
12 Glen. I'm sorry, we didn't hear your
I didn't
address.
hear your last one. Which?
Lucy Glakowski, 28 Rupert Drive.
12 Fern Court.
Fern Court.
Oh, Fern.
Fern. Okay, what can we do?
We were told the commuter committee was discontinued. We just want to know how you guys plan on advocating for us, because we Unfortunately, we don't have a very large turnout for the for commuters. Academy Bus was discontinued, and we're all suffering because of it.
Well, I have to say, we did not, for the commuter committee, we didn't dissolve that commuter committee. That wasn't actually a committee that we actually even acknowledged necessarily on our official roles for ordinance. So that was a community committee, I believe, that the previous mayor had set up with just some volunteers and some residents. I think the gentleman that was running that was Mr. Block. I don't know, I think we received an email communication stating that he was going to step down from that role. If there is somebody else that was looking to chair that, or I don't want to say chair it, but actually work together to continue to keep pressure or try and see what you can do as a community, transportation committee. We offer our rooms, I think we don't, these are public offices, public facilities. If you want to continue to keep your core member of people in place or turn around and seek out more members, I have no problem with that. So we did not disband that. I have no.
We were told that the new mayor disbanded.
Well, that's unfortunate because that's 100% not true. I'm so glad that you came here, and I hope that you will let the members of that committee know that the new mayor never disbanded that committee. The person that was running that committee, I believe, he notified us that he was stepping down. I don't remember what the purpose or the reasons was. I might be able to pull it up on my emails. But I have absolutely no problem with residents that your life is impacted. And you should absolutely have the right to organize and continue to use the public building that we have here. All we ask is that you confer with our clerk so that way we can make sure that our buildings and grounds person can make sure that the room is available on the nights that you would need to make sure that they're open and that you have a facility that you can work out of. But please go back and correct whoever may have been putting that false information out there. This mayor, Victoria Kilpatrick, did not disband that committee at all. And I think that one of the great things we were able to do was offer a lot of resources and connections to individuals that really tried to work with Academy in order to keep that running as long as we possibly could. And we'll continue to advocate for you on.
Okay, that's what we need.
Yes, absolutely.
Together and come back to you guys.
Absolutely.
Madam Mayor, I commuted into Manhattan for over 10 years, and I tried every means short of airplane. I tried bus and train and driving, and I feel your pain.
As a matter of fact, we're reaching out and working with South Amboy as they try and work on creating their ferry services. And we're actually reaching out to other towns like East Brunswick, where although the Academy bus may not be coming through on the routes they did, but using our surrounding towns to work with us so that way our commuters can at least have options. If Academy and we can't persuade them or another bus company to take up those routes, trying to ease the burden on what your everyday lives are like. So absolutely not was that ever disbanded. We're still working and advocating on your behalf as much as we can.
I'd be happy to be the liaison if you want to keep in contact.
Councilwoman Marr, you're going to be a very busy lady, but I'm excited that you have so much energy. So look, not only did we not disband it, you actually are picking up a council liaison. So.
Thank you, and.
You're welcome.
Buses have been canceled, and they reduced the service on Friday, even to the only Manhattan route they have currently. And we haven't heard anything back. All we hear is cancellations or excuses that the drivers are not here, or we can't find new hires, or people leave, and basically we have no one to turn to.
Well, you do. You can continue to work together, work with our council liaison, because she knows she's been in your shoes, and then we will continue to do. I can't tell you that I can solve the problem. I wish I could. You're dealing with companies that are here, they're looking to make money, but you know what, at the very least, if we can't persuade them through the means that we've been trying, then we're going to try and find alternate ways to try and ease that burden on you. I wish, I don't make promises of things that I know I can't necessarily change.
So I'm not sure if you were aware of it. This started last February?
No, I was here for all of that, and I know how that process went. I know we worked with.
You're down, and some of us are commuting to Midtown.
then drive to Old Bridge in time, and I still
Yeah,
don't
that's-
make it in time to, the parking fills up.
Right.
So then I have to come back home, send an email to my boss, I'm sorry, I need to work from home today.
Right.
Before you know it, I'm gonna lose my job.
Understood. I completely understand. Like I said, I wish I could turn around and tell you that I can get a bus right back to where we were. I know that our business administrator worked with Lori McCabe and other members of, in Woodbridge and other of our elected officials to try and get at least extensions. I think we were successful at that for a little bit. But the ultimate vision of the Academy bus line, when they looked at their numbers, they felt that it was not something that was giving them the biggest bang for their buck. I'm not saying that we have to continue, that we have to stop, but I think we're running out of options there. But you have a council liaison. I'm going to ask that you try to build, whether it be through social media outlets or whether that be through meetings again here. In the event that you can organize and you want to utilize our buildings, all you have to do is reach out to our clerk. We will turn around and make sure that you have access here. Communicate that information over to Council Liaison Mar, so that way she can be a part, and then she can bring that information back to our business administrator and anybody else that we can reach out to.
And it's primarily Academy or NJ Transit? Academy.
Academy.
My name is Linda Scales, 22 Telegraph Lane. I'm a Sayreville resident for 31 years. About 25 of those, I have taken that bus on Main Street. I believe Academy is making money on the route. I just don't think they're making what they want to. We have been loyal customers. They should try to keep the route in town. We're happy that they're trying to add buses to neighboring towns, but it's a vital part of many people. And I would hope that if you were at those meetings, perhaps you could go back and listen to the stories. We had people, they only have one car. They can't go to a park and ride. People don't drive. They have to walk to the bus. People that are elderly that need that bus to walk to. And if you look at the real estate ads for town, so many of them
Oh, absolutely.
say, you can walk to the New York City bus. It's a big draw for people to come to Sayreville.
Right. No, I hear you, and I can't say that I understand. I'm very lucky my commute is not that far. I only have to travel to the middle school. But with that, my neighbors, the people right around the block from me, very close friends of ours, this is the only way that they can get to and from their jobs. They're in the same situation. Again, I wish that I could somehow convince Academy that this is, or hold something over them that is going to force them to stay.
Perhaps their
But
moral
I t-
conscience.
Yes.
Perhaps their moral conscience would
You would
be
hope.
that the customer would come first.
I agree. I agree, but thank you. So I hope that I at least gave you the resources to continue to organize and a council liaison.
Just one more thing. This has been a year in the making, and basically it looks and sounds like all the options are vetted out by the previous committee/president. So where are we going now? Since Academy didn't budget until now, where do we go?
I think that's something that I can't tell you what your next course of action is. That would not be appropriate for me to do because I'm not living in it and I don't know exactly where we can go next. But I think that one of the first things, and I'm not in your shoes, I think you need to organize again, whether your previous president or committee chair, whatever it was, has chosen not to take that role on. When it comes to organizing people, you have to find that other person that's gonna turn around and take that lead. And then you need to continue to build and to organize, and then you have to turn around and you have to really pressure, do what you need to do in order to get that attention. You have us as council support. We are supporting. We want more than ever to have our buses coming back through here to service our residents. But sometimes, quite honestly, your voices are more powerful than ours a lot of times. I'm gonna offer you the organization, I'm gonna offer you our council liaison, I'm gonna offer you the continued use of our business administrator, I'm gonna offer you the highest level of our legislative offices that I can give you. But at the end of the day, I don't know what's gonna make them budge. Because if I did, they would be here already. What I will say is, if we can't get them to move, we're going to try and entertain as many options as we can to at least ease some of that burden, because I don't wanna leave you with nothing. So we can continue to knock on that one door, but if that door isn't opening, I'm not gonna continue to knock on it all alone. I'm going to spread out and knock on other doors to bring you other options. Thank you. Please do, and please let us know. I will check in with Councilwoman Marr, and I will check in with you guys periodically to see how we're doing. Thank you. Any other comments from? Oh.
Brief, Tom Polendo, 15 Oakwood Drive. The county set up a transportation committee, so I think this council needs to
So
entertain.
why don't
Okay.
you, when you're finished talking to us, go and tell them and let them know
Well,
that, please.
and
'cause they don't want them-
Frankel, you're supposed to reach out for them, correct?
Well, they
To
need
the
to leave
transportation
contact
commi-
information for
Okay.
that group.
Well, I don't have it. I think,
There's a new- there's a new director.
New
There's
director.
a new director for
I think
county.
he starts in February.
That's correct.
Okay, so there may be movement. I brought it to their attention, so that's,
Hopefully,
okay?
we can get something done. It's a hard fight. Are you ready now? Come on up. Sorry, Eddie.
Ed Streck, 58 Nickel Avenue, Sayreville. I don't know if the governing body is aware of the fact that VFW Post 7508 from Old Bridge is also part of the Veterans Alliance.
No, I did not know. We have nothing on the books as far as the creation of the Veterans Alliance. I had the ladies in the clerk's office go through and try to find any documentation. That's one of the reasons why, I'm glad you said that. I want to have a meeting with both the VFW and the Legion, because the only thing that we knew about the Veterans Alliance was that there were 2 members.
That isn't true because all the Veterans Day parades over the years have been sponsored by the three veterans organizations.
I'm
So-
sure that's true. I just meant from the Alliance.
If they're going to be excluded, I would advise the governing body to contact them.
Yeah, well, for the record, if you notice, I'm not excluding anyone. I'm actually trying to build the Veterans Alliance to include more than just the 2 names that we did have, because people came to us saying they wanted to be a part of it. So I'm glad that you mentioned that. So it's the Old Bridge VFW.
I believe it's 7508.
7508. What I'm going to do, I've already reached out, I've spoken to Stanley Drawl, and I've been in contact with the other commanders and trying to find a way to bring as many people together as we can. So, Councilman Enriquez, being that you're the Veterans Alliance liaison, can you make a phone call, check and see if we can get some contact information? Eddie, thank you for bringing that up.
Also, I noticed that the council meeting honoring Mayor O'Brien for his 20 years of service was not on the access channel, public access channel. Is there any reason for that?
That I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I usually do my videos through the YouTube, so we'll look into that. I don't know who, does Tom usually put those on? I'll have Tom look into that.
The first meeting of 2020 was on.
Oh, wait, I did see that, though. I did see his
You didn't see it on
procession.
the access channel.
Oh, maybe
You
on
might have seen
YouTube.
on the
Yeah.
website.
Yeah, I always watch through YouTube.
But it's a shame, after 20 years of service, he wasn't recognized, so. Thank you.
That was not intentional. I have gone, I honor Kennedy O'Brien for his many, many years of service. The fact that it wasn't on TV, I hope nobody thinks that that is any way, shape, or form a reflection of how we felt as a council and how much he was revered here as the mayor for 20 years. I think that we all felt very genuinely appreciative of all of the things that he's done for our town.
Yeah, but many questions were asked at our Legion post, because the veterans were here, and they wanted to know why they weren't recognized, so.
Well, thank you for bringing that to the attention. That was not an intentional thing. We'll make sure that we look into how that may have occurred.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any other comments from the public? Okay, with that, can I have a motion to close the public portion?
So moved.
All in favor? Any opposed? Motion to adjourn? All in favor? All right, very good. Let's move on to our agenda meeting. Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Statement of publication, Jess?
Take notice that this agenda session meeting of the mayor and council being held on this 27th day of January 2020 has been advertised and posted in accordance with Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975.
Roll call, please.
Councilpersons Delina. Enriquez.
Here.
Mar. McGill.
Here.
Novak.
Yeah.
Roberts.
All right, old business, any comments on the ordinances presented at the previous meeting? No? Okay. Moving forward, new business, administration and finance, Councilwoman Roberts, please.
Move the following minutes and reports be received and filed. Municipal Clerk's monthly report for the month of December 2019. CFO's investment activity report for the month of December 2019.
Second.
Okay, moving forward, you have,
Okay, applications received for bingo raffle licenses from the following organizations. PTO Dwight D. Eisenhower Elementary School to conduct an on-premise 50/50 and an on-premise draw, Tricky Tray, on February 21st, 2020, with a snow date of February 28th, 2020. RA 2323 and RA 2324.
you can go through all of that list and
Okay,
then we'll ask for-
OLB HSA to conduct an on-premise draw Tricky Tray on February 22nd, 2020, with a snow date of February 22nd, 2020, RA 2324. Senior Social Club of Lakeview Development to conduct a special bingo game from March 1st, 2020 through February 28th, 2022. Sayreville Auxiliary Police Association, Inc., to conduct a bingo on-premise draw Tricky Tray and on-premise 50/50 on April 24th, 2020, BA 544, RA 2326, and RA 2327.
You got it all. Any objection? Okay, moving forward.
Notice of public hearings filed by Jersey Central Power and Light on petition filed with BPU for approval of rate adjustments pursuant to the JCP&L Reliability Plus Infrastructure Investment Program. Receive and file.
Is there a second?
Second.
Authorization for tax collector to refund 2019 taxes in the amount of $2,390 and cancel all subsequently billed taxes covering 11 Cedar Lane, Block 248.03, Lot 2.11, due to the approval of a 100% disabled veteran tax exemption by the tax assessor effective July 1st, 2019.
Any objection? Okay, moving on. Any other comments?
That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Planning and zoning, Councilman Delina, please.
Thank you, Mayor. I move the following minutes and reports be received in files numbers 1 through 3.
Is there a second?
Second.
Request received from Sarah for an ordinance to amend River Road redevelopment to address a wetlands permit issue with having to move buildings and parking area. Approve or deny.
Okay, we need an introduction ordinance for that, Jess, and a reso.
At the next meeting.
Okay, so,
Any objection?
any objections to that? Okay, thank you, continue.
Progress.
Thank you very much, Councilman Delina. Public safety, Councilman McGill.
Thank you, Mayor. A, minutes and department reports. Will the following minutes and reports be received and filed? Number 1, municipal court report for the month of December 2019. Number 2, Board of Health registrar and county reports for the month of December 2019 to receive and file.
Is there a second?
Second.
B, an application for membership as a firefighter received from the following. Jared Savinsky Miller, accepted by Morgan Hose Company Number 1 at their January 2nd, 2020 meeting. Ejo Clemente, accepted by Melrose Hose Company Number 1 at their January 6th, 2020 meeting. Approve?
Any objection? No. Okay.
C, a coin toss request for the corner of Washington and Ernston Road received from the Boy Scout Troop 97 on March 14, 15, 2020 from 10 p.m., 10 to 2 p.m. I don't know, if it could work at night, that'd be all right. To approve.
Any objection? Okay, thank you. Any other comments,
Other
Councilman?
than that, progress.
Thank you so much. And Recreation, Councilman Enriquez.
Thank you, Mayor. I move the following minutes reports be received and filed. Recreation Department report for the month of December 2019.
Is there thank you.
All right, requests received from Sayreville Veterans Alliance to conduct their annual Memorial Day Parade on Monday, May 25th, 2020, hosted by the Sayreville Memorial Post 4699 VFW.
Any objection? Okay. And any comments?
Yes, I have a rec update from Rec Director Jerry Us. Just a couple of reminders. Registration for Mommy and Me at the Rec Center and Little Kids Playtime at Kennedy Park is ongoing Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. You can register online at SayrevilleRec.com. They have the bus trip to the Jurassic World Live at the Prudential Center. Tickets are $65 each. Seating is in the lower level, sections 4 and 5. On Saturday, February 29th, the bus leaves the rec center at 5:30 for the 7 p.m. show. You can buy tickets online at SayrevilleRec.com. And we have the new Sayreville AA and Rec Soccer League spring season. Registration's open at SayrevilleRec.com, $30 per player and no work bond. League starts April 18th at the sports complex. And progress, man.
Thank you very much. Public Works, Council President Novak?
Yes, I moved.
Did I skip water and sewer?
I finally have a report to read.
I think it's because deep down inside, I miss water and sewer. I was saving it for the end. I'm sorry, Councilwoman Marr.
I move to approve the water and sewer minutes and departmental reports for the month of December 2019.
Is there a second?
That is all.
Okay, thank you. Public Works, Council President Novak?
Okay, I move that the minutes as listed on the agenda under A, 1, 2, and 3 be received and filed.
Second.
Notice received from Michael Mahalik from his position as Parks Division effective April 1st, his retirement. That should be received and filed.
Second.
And we will sadly miss him. This man has been in this position for 42 years. And he's fantastic, and he's no matter how hard he works, he's always got a smile on his face. So we will miss him greatly. Other than that, Jay, the light on Sayreville Boulevard, I know it has to be operating for a certain amount of time before you can reevaluate it. But is it possible to go out there and reevaluate it? Because it seems like it stays red for Main Street like 15, 20 seconds after all the cars have gone through. Is there any way we can go out there? I know we're past a certain time that we can go out and reevaluate.
It's county roads, so whatever we do, we'll have to get county approval, but if you want to initiate that, we can.
I'd like to check in on that, because anything to, keep the traffic moving. Also, I had a request from the crossing guard at Our Lady of Victories. She came within inches of being hit about a week ago, and she'd like some sort of flashing lights in an effort to slow the traffic down, because they just don't seem to pay any attention. We've already had 2 children hit, and everybody knows about. The other day, I noticed in East Brunswick, on Dunham's Corner Road, they have some yellow signs that seem to have, they're operated through a solar thing, so it's not like we'd even have to have power to it. It flashes, like it's got flashing on all 4 corners of the sign, and it's right by the crosswalks, and it's like pointing down to it, like the flashing lights going like this. Anything to catch their attention, because I don't want another accident there. So,
Let's look into that. Let's see what we can get.
other than that, progress.
Thank you, Council President. We'll move on to our Business Administrator's report. Mr. Frankel?
Thank you, Mayor. Authorization to appoint Beverly Johns to Deputy Tax Assessor effective February 16, 2020.
Any comments? Okay.
We need to have a discussion on shared service agreement with the Sayreville Board of Education for a grant writer.
You want to have that discussion now?
We should, because
Okay. So I'm excited to actually have this as one of our items here. I know that I had the opportunity to sit down with our superintendent, Dr. Labby, and I'm excited to have the opportunity to actually bring in a grant writer. It's something that we entertained a while back as a part-time type employment. This time around, there's a lot of opportunities out there through grant writing. Grants come up, they have timelines, there's differences between our Board of Education and our municipal grants. And what would be nice, and Dr. Labby was on board with this, instead of us as a borough having to incur the entire cost of hiring a grant writer, they were willing to share some of that cost, and for our borough, for our residents, to have a grant writer now that would be able to seek out and look to obtain grants for both the Board of Education and for the municipality. We all know, while it might be two budgets, you have a Board of Education budget and a municipal budget, it's the same wallet the money is coming from. So anytime that we can find a way to work together as two governmental agencies serving the people, I think that this is a win-win for all of us. So what would we need to do, move forward with on that?
Well, what I would like is just to, we've interviewed one or two grant writers. We think we've narrowed it down. We'd probably like the Board of Education to talk to them also, and then maybe come back at the next council meeting.
Does any of the council have any questions, comments, or concerns with doing that?
I have a comment. It's a great idea. It's about time we did this, and we should move forward as quickly as possible.
Thank you. So, Mr. Franco, let's reach out to the Board of Education, let them know that we're in favor of moving forward with that, and let's see what we can strike as far as a shared service agreement. This is a win-win, I think, for everybody.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Next one is discussion on technology improvements to the agenda packets. So for those of you who have been here and those of you who have not been here, our packets are huge. Our paper usage is huge. The time in the clerk's department that they spend in doing these packages is huge. We would like to consider looking at technology, tablets, to go ahead and move forward in the electronic age, and just to make sure that things are issued to you on tablets that you can download on a tablet, bring to the meeting, bring to the dais, review it, look at it, so we can basically minimize all this paper that's up here.
I think a green initiative is a great way to go. If we were to turn around and do a cost analysis on what it's costing every time to turn around and pump out this paper.
Time too, you gotta include time and effort.
Time and effort.
We're killing a lot of trees.
We're killing a lot of trees, and we're shredding a lot of paper here, people. And our shredding event is exciting, but I just think we can really work to minimize that footprint if we can. Let's look into that and see what we can do.
Thank you. Authorization to amend a non-fair and open contract issued to Edmonton Associates for the provision of proprietary finance software to include data conversion in amount not to exceed $18,750.
Any comments? Okay.
Authorization to execute a shared services agreement between the Borough of Sayreville and the County of Middlesex for goose control of Sayreville parklands at a fee not to exceed $10,383.93.
Any comments? Okay.
Authorization for the borough engineer to prepare design work for the Ernst Road reconstruction project at a cost not to exceed $35,000.
Any comments? Okay.
Authorization for CME to prepare plans and specifications for the Kennedy Park basketball court renovation, and upon approval of the plans and specifications, the borough clerk is also herein authorized to advertise for the receipt of bids at fees not to exceed $13,500.
Any objection? Okay.
Authorization to award a contract to MRC Recreation for the purchase of park benches through New Jersey Education Services Commission co-op contract in an amount not to exceed $20,344.85.
Any objection?
Authorization to purchase one 2020 Ford Escape from Buyer Ford through New Jersey Education Services Commission co-op contract 17-8/18-21 in an amount not to exceed $26,021.31. The total cost deducts the value of a trade-in vehicle of one 1999 Ford Escape for $400.
Any objection? Okay.
Authorization to appoint Jeremy Clark to supervising water treatment plant repair effective February 16, 2020.
Any objection?
Authorization to approve the emergency purchase of one surge grinder replaced at Eugene Pump Station from J.B. Jager in the amount not to exceed $19,292.99.
Objection? No? Okay.
Authorization to scrap one 1993 Ford K-74 truck. Vehicle is no longer needed for public use and is in very poor condition.
Any objection? Okay.
That is it, Mayor.
Thank you very much for that report. And CFO, Denise? Thank you very much. Borough Engineer?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just one item. The MacArthur Avenue project's been completed, but during construction, there was a problem with a culvert in the vicinity of St. Stan. That's a stormwater pipe that crosses the roadway. It failed just because of existing conditions. There are steel beams that have rotted away that support the roadway. So we need to go through and come up with a way to with the contractor, and we've had a number of options, and we're looking for a change order to allow him to proceed with that work. We spoke with the CFO, there is money available, so we'd like to have that listed as a resolution at the next meeting so that repair can be made.
Any objection? Do we have a timeline on that, Jay?
If I get a verbal approval, we're going to tell the contractor to proceed pending the change order at the next meeting. That way he can order his supplies. So it'll probably start over the next couple of weeks. And he's looking at a 3-week time frame to do the work. The road's going to have to be closed for a portion of that time frame, but we've already met with the police department and coordinated traffic control. So probably over the course of the next month, we'll look to have that completed.
Okay, when you do that road closing, and I know that the police chief is pretty good, but please reach out to the transportation director at the school, so that way if it's closed during the day, so that they can reroute. I know there's buses that go down that way.
Yes, we will.
Okay, thank you.
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jay, appreciate that. Borough Attorney, Mr. Dupont?
No report, Mayor, other than I do need an executive session just to discuss personnel matters. If you want to do that after the public portion, that would be great.
Okay. Thank you very much, we will do that. Will action to be taken?
No action will be taken, is my understanding.
Okay, thank you so much. Then open to the public for anybody that would like to comment. Sorry, one more time, name and address, please.
Okay. Christina Davis, 92 Miller Avenue. Just one thing that I forgot before. The Sayreville Soccer Club requested a date and time when they can go over to the sports complex to get some of the assets that were left there to date. We reached out for a date so we wouldn't just show up without, notice. And also there are some items there that the club in general is willing to donate back to the recreation department so that they can be kept there and use them for the children, regardless of what program they're in.
Okay.
But we didn't want to show up with large equipment and make that reservation to come in without, since we've been waiting for a date, so.
Can we coordinate that, Mr. Frankel, so that
So the recreational director, Jerry Ust, has the key. So if you can call him in the morning, I'm sure be glad to set up a time to meet whoever.
Okay. All right, so then we'll just go through Jerry.
Yep.
'Cause I know that we made the request in December, but then the holidays came, so we didn't really hear anything back.
Okay, if you don't get Jerry's response in a day or so, give me a call and I'll make sure it happens.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Anybody else from the public? One of our new volunteers for,
Hi again, Valerie Canan, 73
yes,
Gillespie Drive.
chairperson of the Bailey's Park Improvement Projects. Go
She
ahead.
wants access from her back fence to the
To the park, as long as there's no spray park. But, okay, so I just popped into my head. My kids play Little League, and fields are great. My question is there any 50, 70 fields thought about to be put in, and maybe Bailey's Park would be an option?
We've had a little bit of discussion. I would have to throw that back over to our recreation director or to our council liaison with that so that you can continue discussion. I'm sorry, there is one thing I have to say. I have 2 girls, so 50, 70 fields in our world, a little different.
I know.
I'll refer that over and we can get that information over to you. Okay.
I agree, we are in need of that.
We are, so it would be great.
We currently do have 50, 70 fields.
Where?
Cerebral Athletic
Say-
Association.
Is that the pit with the no,
No.
notice that, no?
So.
Go ahead, Mr. Palando.
I know what you guys can talk afterwards, but at the end of Woodland, so the pit is the lower end of that particular area. The pit is,
50, 70 is up above, but where is your child looking to play?
Well, we play in Sayreville Little League, and we're also
Well, we
part of
did
the
at
river.
the AA, which the Little League could do, is just make it 50, 70. You could do that. I mean,
Yeah,
that's what we did.
yeah, they have control over their fields if they wanted
All
to.
you need to do is to move the bases when it is utilizing it, but just to make a field 50, 70, and that would be it. When your child gets older, then what happens?
Well, there's nothing saying that you can't make it 50, 70, that's expandable and recedes. I
Right,
understand that. I'm just saying there's nothing specifically said anywhere in the town that's not already utilized by one organization that wouldn't be available to another organization. So,
The Sayville AA has had the River Dogs utilizing that field.
but that would be one field and there's many teams. So it would be It would be nice to have more than one.
So what I would recommend is this, between the two organizations, you can have a discussion. The Saraville Little League, that is one of the options they can turn around and take from one of their fields in order to cut that out. And the county does. But I will, I'll have Damon reach out again to Jerry with talk. Okay? Thank you. Any other comments from the public? Okay.
Should be closed.
Okay, and, can I have a motion, we have to motion to go into exec session.
Yeah, it's, Mayor, whereas Section 8 of the Open Public Meeting Act permits the exclusion of the public from a meeting in certain circumstances, whereas public bodies are dependent that such circumstances presently exist, now therefore be it resolved by the Mayor and the Borough Council of the Borough of Saraville, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, the public portion of this meeting is hereby adjourned in order that the governing body may meet in closed private session for approximately 10 to 15 minutes to discuss personnel matters. Following the conclusion of said closed session, the governing body shall reconvene the open portion of this public meeting to consider any other matters which may be properly brought before at this time. The nature and content of the discussion which occurs in closed session shall be made public at such time as the need for non-disclosure no longer exists. This resolution shall take effect immediately.
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. All in favor? Aye. Okay. And do we need to meet in 3:10?
Good night, everyone.
It was East Brunswick, and later on. And the next day was the guy should say. We should have gotten all these Brunswick.